What's up, YouTube? This is John, back with another episode of Engineering Awesome. Well, I finally have finished the plasma. Now, I use the term finish pretty loosely because I'm probably always going to be working on it, always trying to learn something from it, but ultimately it's cutting, it's working, so I'm going to call it finished. Let's get into it and take a closer look at it. So, for those of you guys that have been following along, you know that I've built this in my garage. This is my first attempt at a CNC plasma, and frankly, I've never built one this big. I've done the little laser, which some of you guys might have seen, but that was kind of my first foray into building them myself. I've got the tag right behind me in the box, but this is the first one that I have built, and I have treated it as a learning experience. I wanted to build it kind of quickly because you don't want to lose your motivation or anything like that, so I built it as quick as I could and basically put everything together and kind of changed things as I went from the model that I did, just so that I kind of learned on the fly. Like initially I had belts on it. The belts had so much backlash that I couldn't get it as accurate as I wanted. So I bought some cheap ball screws because I figured it was the quickest thing that I could possibly implement. I've got it sitting on just some funky plates, and it works, but it's not ideal. I've got multiple spacers just to get everything where it needs to be lined up. I actually machined them flat on the tag and made sure that everything was the right height, and it works pretty well. But once you get to the ends of the ball screw, it kind of binds up. Now, I know that is likely due to whatever I've done here, some misalignment. Ball screws are very tight tolerance, but ultimately I really don't want it to be that tight a tolerance because the tubing it's mounted to is not held to a tolerance. So I can't have something causing issues like that when everything's been machined, and it's likely just because it's sitting on the tubing. So the ball screws are going to go away, so we'll take a quick look at the model I've done. Now, one of the big things with this model is that, like CNC router parts, they've got reducers and gear ratios and everything, which is all great, but I kind of want to see how I can get this to perform without reducers or anything, because that system is like $200 per rack and pinion that you need, and that is just for the gearing. So I'm going to try it just with a rack and a gear and see how that works. I've got an auto tensioning system in there, and some of you guys might be like, well, why do you need an auto tensioning system? You can buy these kits on eBay where they don't have an auto tensioning system, because that's going to account for any small misalignment with, say, like if I'm off by 0.1 or 0.2 degrees down the length of my 1500 millimeter rails, and I've got that next to it, and I think it's parallel, but like I said, it's off by 0.1, 0.2 degrees. That will cause some binding issues, which is what I'm seeing in the ball screws. So that's really my goal there. Now, another thing that I've done is I have actually added a torch height controller to this, which I wasn't sure if I was going to do it. I was kind of up in the air, but I went ahead and did it, and it was super easy to wire in, especially to the Ethernet smooth stepper. I'm really happy with it. Now, with that kind of came an issue that I think is probably my fault with settings in Mach 3, but it pushed me to make another upgrade, and that is for a floating head. So I have purchased a floating head rather than machining one and designing it myself, and the main reason for that is I've got a lot of other stuff going on. I just don't have the time to do that design work, because that, you got to remember, that's unpaid design work. That's stuff that I'm doing with hopefully a return on my investment of time. But right now it makes more sense just to cough up the cash and put my time towards something else that pays. Here's a picture of the one that I got. I found it on eBay. It looks like it should work pretty well for not only my hand torch, but also I've been talking to Paul Gamble, the guy that I have recommended most of you guys seek out for help if you need to buy a welder or if you need to buy a plasma cutter even. And he's got a machine torch that he has started getting in. And I might just pick one of those up in the near future. It depends on what I can do with this. But let's go over what the immediate plans are for this table. So, number one, floating head. It's already on the way. So I'm gonna mount that up. I'm hoping this weekend and start working on figuring out how to program everything and set it up in Mach 3. The second thing that I plan on doing is dialing everything in. And that doesn't sound like a big upgrade, but I plan to make a file that I'm hoping I can upload somewhere and share with everybody that has some feeds and speeds built into it, and all you do is basically run that. It comes down, cuts, and it lets you, it's like a line test. It lets you develop recipes for materials. So I'm gonna work on doing something like that. Right now I've got 16 gauge on the table. I'm gonna stick with that for now. And then after I do that, and that's with the floating head, so that's in conjunction there. After I do that, rack and pinion. So I've already got the 1/4 inch plate sitting on the floor over here. I don't think you can see it, but I'm gonna do it all out of the 1/4 inch plate, throw it on, and this will be a self-improving plasma, and we'll see where we go from there. Now, I say that I'm pretty busy. What I mean by that is tomorrow, which is Thursday, I'm going to IMTS. Super stoked about that. I love going to IMTS. Past that, I'm looking at a couple of jobs that are paid design work. I'm trying to kind of develop a little bit more of that business. And when I go to IMTS, I'm gonna look at possibly buying a full CNC machine. Now, not at the show. This is like a 6 to 12 month plan, but that's kind of what I'm going with the goal to do. Because I'm wanting to do more design work. I've got a small project where robot will be unloading something, putting it on a conveyor. It's all on one stand. I've got to build 2 of those, design it and build it, and then looking at possibly another plasma torch mounted to a robot. So that could be really cool. I'm really excited about that one. So you know, I've got a couple of projects like that I'm working on. And you know, I'm going to try and get permission from the customer to do a quick video on them. We'll see if that works out, but we got to remember this is my side gig, so I'm struggling still with managing my time. I've got my normal gig, and then I'm balancing doing the YouTube videos, and then also balancing doing the plasma stuff. So bear with me. I do want to show you guys where I'm at with this stuff, and I think that's a pretty good update on this. So make sure that if you guys have any questions, you leave them down below in the comments, and as always, I appreciate you guys watching. Give me a thumbs up, and make sure you subscribe. I'll see you guys next time on Engineering Awesome.